So recently I heard a Pollyanna perspective on how to change yourself for the better. And the idea was that you just needed to change your identity. And when you change your identity, then all the motivational problems you're having to do the things you know you need to do to have the things that new identity would have just goes away. Just goes away because you've assumed an identity. So let's think about this. You assume the identity of an athlete. You want to be an athlete, so you assume the identity of an athlete. Great. This means that you're going to exercise daily because you're an athlete, right? You don't have to worry about motivation anymore. You're just going to exercise daily because your identity is that of an athlete. So you can exercise daily. You're going to wake up early because you're here that athletes get up early in the morning and they do their exercise first thing in the morning, right? They before everything else starts, so nothing else gets in the way, they'll exercise early. Okay, and they're going to eat healthily. You're not going to eat any junk anymore. It's done. You don't have to worry about what you're going to eat that's healthy now because you're an athlete. So you're going to eat the healthy food that all athletes eat, and you're not going to worry about having to worry about not eating the junk food and all that stuff that you're currently addicted to. But forget about that. You're now an athlete. So finally, okay, without that, as an athlete, you're going to have membership to a gym, and then you're going to go regularly because you're an athlete. Okay, so let's think about this now for a second. Just because you've assumed the identity of an athlete does not mean that the motivational interference that goes on in your brain is not going to happen. You can't just change your identity. It doesn't work that way. I'm sorry for those people that watch that YouTube video and actually believe that all I had to do is change my identity. It doesn't work that way. Your identity changes because of the habits you have and the experiences you have in life. That's the way it works. You can't just assume something and it's there, right? If that's the case, then one day you can assume that you're an athlete, and the next day you assume that you're not an athlete. It's just that, you just flip-flop back and forth because of the day you're having, right? I'm having a great day, so therefore I'm an athlete. Oh, I don't feel so great, or I don't want to go out, so therefore really I'm not an athlete. What are you? Are you an athlete or are you not an athlete? That's the point, right? If you want to become an athlete, what do you have to do? Well, you have to develop the habits and the routines that an athlete has. So I've talked about this in the past. I'm a runner. I love to run. I run almost every day. It clears my mind. I feel great afterwards. I don't seem to, have to worry about how fast I run or whatever. I just like to go out and run. So I'm a runner. I wasn't always a runner. There was a point in time when I thought I couldn't run because every time I went out and tried to run, my knees started to hurt, my back hurt, all these different things. It wasn't until I took a course on running and then I started running consistently every single day that I became a runner. It's the past experience and the habits I have that made me into a runner. The same thing happens with anything else. If you want to assume the identity of a successful business person, doesn't mean that tomorrow you're going to be a successful business person. You don't have the habits, you don't know the things you need to know, you don't have the experiences you need to have to be a successful business person. You have to go through the effort of developing those habits and learning the things that a successful business person learns. Then, once you've done that, then you have the identity of a successful business person. Stop thinking that, I'm just going to change my mind suddenly, because if you can change your mind suddenly for the good, you can do the same thing for the bad. And that's what happens. You go back and forth depending on the day, right? We talked about that. So, if you want to become anything, then the idea of changing your identity is good. You do want to change your identity. And the identity that you have is the vision of being the person you want to be. So if you want to be an athlete, then pick a athletic thing that you want to do. Like I run, some people like to swim, some people like to play basketball, whatever it is that you're going to do to be that athlete, then decide, okay, so now what habits and what skills do I need to learn to become that person? And then set yourself a goal to go and do one step at a time, do one thing at a time, and slowly build up, get the experiences, get the knowledge, and get the physical ability to actually do the things that you want to do. That's the only way to do it. And then once you build that up, once you have that vision, okay, this is what I want now, I'm going to do all these different things, and mini goals, as we talk about each time. We talk about goals. You got to have those goals that you can measure and that are easily you can see that you're actually doing them. That's what a goal is, right? Once you've done that, then you go take those steps one at a time, and eventually you turn around and you look, hey, I'm an athlete. Same thing with being a business person. I started a little business, and I'm not really a business person at this point, but I'm going to have to go out and learn how to sell stuff. So that means I got to learn how to talk to people. And once I can learn how to talk to people, now I got to learn how to produce the product that they're actually wanting. And then I'm going to have to figure out how to do customer service. Once you've got all those things that you need to do in a row, you have the knowledge and you know the systems are in place, and you have the habits of doing what successful business people do, you turn around and you go, hey, I'm a successful business person. You don't just assume that you're a successful business person. You do little things, and every time you do something that is on the road towards being a successful business person or an athlete or whatever it is you want to be, then that's a vote for your new identity, not suddenly getting there, right? So stop it. Stop thinking I just decide to be that and suddenly I'm that. It doesn't work that way. You have to do the work. And the work is setting the goals, doing the little tiny steps all along the way. And once you've got all the little steps in place and you learn the knowledge, then you're there. Okay, so when you want to set yourself a vision like that, I want to be an athlete, or I want to be a business person, or I want to be, healthy, or whatever it is, then stop, figure out what that means. That's the vision part. And then figure out what would happen if you don't do it. That's the other most important part, is figure out if you fail, what's going to happen. And if you make it bad enough, then that's another motivator for you to actually do the things you need to do every day. And then once you've got it, then break it down into little tiny steps and start on the lowest one and practice. Keep practicing, and don't worry about being the person, because every time you do the little things, you are going to get to become that person. Don't worry about failing, because you will fail. That's absolutely for sure. You're going to fail. The question is are you going to fail completely and give up, or are you going to fail and continue to try? Because if you continue to try, then you're going to make it. All right, so that's my little rant for the day. I get irked when people say that all you have to do is this. There's no such thing as all you have to do is this. You have to do lots of little things to get to where you want to go. And Don't let anybody dupe you into thinking that it's easy and that it's going to just fall into your place if you just change one little thing. You have to work. It's going to be hard and you will fail, but keep trying. And that's the point.